So thank you all again for joining us today, taking some time here in this afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. This webinar is really specifically geared for candidates who are preparing for the NHA certification exam, or who have and will be using the exam preparation tools provided through your NHA login. If you're not sure if you're going to receive those resources through the program you're with, please connect with your institution to learn more about that. We're going to cover some information about certifications in general, specifically what's expected of you in the healthcare field, but also why it's important. We'll spend some time talking about your resources with those NHA study materials, what you can do to prepare. We're also going to talk a little bit about what happens after you earn your certification. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the webinar to play that game and hopefully be the one to win that gift card. So go ahead and download that app if you can now, just so it's all ready to go there at the end. So let's start by talking just briefly about what certification really means. Having an accredited industry certification like those available from NHA represents more than just finishing a course or program. It actually proves you've done more. You've gone above and beyond to validate your knowledge, your skills, your competencies in important core areas of your health field. Now, this is different than what you earn when you finish a program. That's a certificate of completion. That proves you've completed something, school requirements, educational need, but sitting for the exam and earning your certification gives employers a next level of confidence in you and what you can do, as well as provides them higher levels of safety and standards of care, which is often what they're evaluated on and why they value it so much that you have that certification. NHA works with employers across the country. And we know that even though a job posting may just say they're looking for a medical assistant, for example, when they are going to screen applicants, having credentials in a national certification does make you stand out. Again, even if it's not posted in the job description. In fact, a recent survey of employers across the country showed that 91% reported they would hire a candidate who has a certification over one who doesn't. So if you have the exact same everything else, but you have the certification, 91% would hire you. That same survey showed that 86% of healthcare employers actually highly encourage or require that you have an industry certification. And 62% of their HR teams are using If You Do in a screening process prior to hire. So 62% of HR teams are going to put you in one pile over another if you have a certification. Having that also when you complete your program doesn't just help you get your foot in the door, but can help you earn more income. Of those interviewed, the majority of employers confirmed that they will increase candidate pay when an employee earns that professional certification, which is different than just finishing a program. A few other items from that survey show that the most important soft skills that a candidate needed to show were professionalism, critical thinking, dependability, and verbal communication. But critical thinking and dependability were those most often missing in potential candidates. Now, NHA does have some additional resources around developing these essential soft skills that we could also look into. That's not what today's about. So we've revisited a little bit about certification, why it's important, but let's get really into talking about best practices for using that material. A recent survey of 6,000 NHA exam candidates stated that they wished that they had studied with the exam prep materials better and more frequently than they did prior to sitting for the exam. Now I'm going to pause right here. I know there's a lot of questions in the chat about the Kahoot. That's going to be at the end. So just have it ready to go when it's time to use it. Don't worry about it. We're going to go into that game. We just want to make sure that you're primed up and ready for the end. All right. Great job. Thanks to everybody for working so hard on that. So we also know that across the country, students who use NHA certification preparation resources and follow best practices when studying along with program content have a much higher possibility of passing the exam in their first attempt. To get started, we need to begin talking about the test itself. The test plan is the blueprint or outline of the exam. This plan provides an overview of topics and concepts that you'll be tested on, as well as a number of test items on the exam in that topic. Knowing how this works and what you'll be tested on is a big part of preparation. So the test plans are available on our website. They are built into the study materials. They are available for you to download and in your resources link if you have the online study guide. The resources can be started at any point in your journey to certification. I wanted to take a quick minute. I was curious to find out. We're going to launch another poll here. We're going to see where you guys are right now in your learning process. So are you at the beginning? Are you halfway through? Where are you in your learning journey? Just take a quick minute and kind of check in with everybody. Great job. We're going to just give it another second, capture a couple more folks. We'll get those results posted. Excellent. Okay, here we go. So it looks like the bulk of you are either scheduled for your test or actively reviewing right now for the exam. So that's really exciting. This information is applicable for anybody who's going to be getting those exam study materials. So no matter where you are, we're going to help, hopefully. I can't promise, but we're going to help. All right. So the NHA materials are based on the test plans we were just talking about. The full prep package includes an online study guide, a series of practice tests, personalized reporting tools, and a unique study tool called the Focused Review. We're going to talk about all of these here coming up. So now you can access online prep materials through your login at the NHA website, which is nhanow.com. You'll want to get this set up as soon as possible if you haven't already. A couple of best practices for your login and password. If possible, before exam day, we recommend that your NHA login email is one that you will check frequently, not just when you're enrolled in a program or through a program, one you will continue to check once you complete your program. The password requirements are also pretty specific, and you can't reset a password in the testing room. So be sure you know what your password is before test day if you save them on your computer. The other is to be sure that the name on your candidate account is your legal name, whatever is on your government issued photo ID. This is what they will use on exam day to verify you. And if your name doesn't match first and last, then you may not be able to test. So these are when you're setting up your account, things you can do to make sure everything is good to go. Once logged in, it's a good idea just to make sure that if you're associated with an organization, it's listed on your homepage. So this should match the school or program you're studying through. If this needs changing, you can do that through your account button at the top of your screen. Your homepage has quick links and videos to help you where you are in your learning process, as well as frequently used how-to videos and walkthroughs. You can access all of your how-to guides in the NHA library right from your home screen. That library has a lot of additional resources, walkthroughs to help with the process from start to finish, including videos and guides on using the tools, viewing your reporting, even resources on what to expect on test day and troubleshooting guides. Be sure to continue to check your email. NHA will send you reminders and FAQs and best practices as you move through your learning process. This is another reason it's important to have that login email be one that you'll check for a long time. Once you've earned your certification, we want you to get your reminders to renew it and resources for continuing education credits. Once everything is set up, and you've received the confirmation from your program that you have access to your materials or purchase them for yourself, selecting My Courses is how you access that content. To follow NHA's best practices, we would suggest that you start with your study guide first, working all the way through each module before taking the quiz tied to that lesson. The resources in your online study tools are aligned to the test plan. There are so many great things built in. The good news is you don't just have to read the study guide. We have different learning accessibility options with videos, closed captioning, an audiobook feature. There are Q&A tools, rationales, games, flashcards. Again, we suggest that you get all the way through each module before starting the quiz that is tied to that chapter. Each quiz is designed to look and feel just like the online exam, but are focused in just one core competency, so you can see how ready you are to move on. We're not just going to tell you if you got the question right or wrong. We actually provide the content information you need to know to understand why each question is right or wrong. And we do this for every quiz in your study guide. We don't recommend that you take these over and over again, but instead use them to understand what you may need to study more before moving into the next module. And I know that if you don't get the score that you want, you just want to take it over. I totally get it. Don't do that. Memorizing these questions is not going to help you on the exam. Knowing what you need to study will. Once you've gone all the way through your study guide, then it's usually time to test your certification exam readiness with your first NHA practice assessment. So those practice tests that you have access to, if you have them, are designed to look and feel exactly like the exam. You are taken through several different test versions, a total of 6 possible attempts. Now, just like the quizzes, if just because you get a bunch of tries doesn't mean you take them all right away or try to memorize questions. These are designed to help you prepare and study for your exam. Each attempt is like taking the full certification exam, but do not expect these exact questions are going to be on that test. They're designed to follow the test and outline all scored questions, provide feedback and reporting, and additional tools to help you study. Your instructor may turn on or off the instant feedback rationales to help as you prepare. We also suggest you try for at least one practice test to give it a real exam feel. Have those rationales off. Time yourself to make sure that you can make it through that timed exam. It's not important that you take all of the assessments, but that you study in between. One of the ways we can help you with that is with the focused review. So after every practice test attempt, you get a personalized report that will load, and you get to see how you scored in each main area. You won't be told exactly what question you missed, but what competencies to work on. This is to be sure that you go back and study on areas that need work rather than just memorize questions or continue working on areas that you're already confident in. Practice tests right from here, you can immediately launch your focused review. The focused review helps you study what you need still to learn, what you're already comfortable with. So we do recommend you spend time in this as well as in any additional course content before taking your next practice test. This is a new study tool specific to just that one practice test attempt to help you focus further on those areas you may be struggling in still. This helps to make sure that you're doing more study. Don't shy away from reviewing your mistakes. The best way to improve your score is by challenging yourself to learn the information you haven't mastered yet. Yet is a big deal there, right? Yet you will get there. Takes time. The moment you start in your first module, quiz, or practice test, we will start to give you detailed reporting of what you've done, how you're doing, and help to guide you on what's next. So I want to take another quick, have I been sharing that poll this whole time? Somebody holler at me next time I do that. Okay, we're going to do another poll. I want to see how many people actually already have the exam prep materials. So I'm going to post that up there. Perfect. Do you have them? Are you getting them? Where are we at? Okay, we've got a lot of people answering. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today and posting this out there. I'm so excited to see these responses. It looks like the bulk of you actually already have the study materials. So we're going to go ahead and just share that. Here we go, everybody. Look, so many of you already have them. I'm getting them soon. I'm going to get them myself. I'm not sure. So I appreciate those responses, you guys. I'm going to stop sharing that poll now this time. Sorry about that one last one. So a quick question then, for those of you who already have them, how many of you have already taken your first practice test? I want to kind of check in there and see where are we at. Use the poll. I see you, Melissa, in the chat box. Use the poll so we can capture it. I want to see you there. Here we go. Not yet. I am getting there. Okay. I'm going to just go ahead and end that poll up in another second here. There we go. Okay, so it's almost even, not quite, but the bulk of you have taken, who have it, at least one practice test, but several of you have not yet, which is very exciting. So as we move forward, these are some best practices for what happens next. So that focused review, what it looks like, making sure that you're studying with that material. Great job, you guys. So now let's talk a little bit about what happens with your personalized reporting. So to view your reporting for both your study guide and quizzes, you want to select the module or report that you want to view, and you'll be taken to a personalized overview of what you've completed, how long you've spent, your scores either at the quiz level or the practice test level. Your practice tests are going to look very similar, right? You select your report, you pick the test that you want to review, and it will start with some detailed information on your overall score, how long you spent, and we'll move into an overview of the main core areas. This is the outline of the test plan. And you can see how you scored in the different areas. And if you scroll down, you'll see all of the topics you missed at least one question on from your practice test attempt. Now, this is not the focused review. Remember, that's something you can launch to help you work through this list. Instead, this is the outline of the areas that NHA would suggest that you go back and study further. If your study materials have a track my progress option, then you have some additional reporting tools to help monitor best practices and suggestions on what to do. So that's going to be medical assisting, pharmacy technician, phlebotomy, and patient care technician. So either way, you will have personal reports to help track as you go through, but for those four, the progress tracker will help to identify where you've spent your time and how much time NHA would suggest you spend in each module. This also will provide you a direct link back to your study guide. Your practice tests will be monitored. You can see your score, how much time we'd suggest you spend on your focused review, and a direct link to that review right from here. You will also see how your exam outcome for that practice assessment compares to the national average for that practice test, which will change as you go through your 6 practice tests. The Content Focus tab shows you your most recent practice test outcome, organized from the areas you scored lowest in first. Opening up any of these tabs gives you more information on those core competencies we've been discussing. And clicking on them will take you directly into your focused review. The usage summary, it's going to be way over on the right-hand side, will give you a one-page overview of what you've done, how you've scored, and how much time you've spent across the modules. And I know we get this question a lot, but how do you know if you're eligible to take one of NHA's accredited certification exams? Well, in most cases, successfully completing your academic program that you're in should be all you need to help meet the minimum requirements to test for NHA's certification exam. If you aren't sure, or you're doing this on your own, right, not through a program, right from your home screen, you should have an option to find out if you're eligible to test. Scrolling down on this page will take you to a short quiz as well as a link to the candidate handbook, where you can see all of the requirements or options for eligibility. Okay, so you have all these great resources available to you, but let's talk about the best timeline and a few suggestions on studying and preparing for test day. Remember also that we have walkthroughs, videos, and how-to resources on your NHA account to take you through all of these steps that you'll need to apply for your test. So let's begin with a timeline to review what we've discussed and see it all in action. So you should start by getting your NHA login set up as early as possible if you haven't already. The sooner, the better. NHA has seen that students and candidates who register early in their programs or learning journey have a higher probability of actually taking their NHA test. So if you haven't done this yet, now is a great time. If you can, or if your program is providing it, get access to those NHA materials as soon as possible. That recent survey of the 6,000 certification holders, again, they confirmed that they wished they'd had it sooner so they can study better prior to testing. On that, following good study habits is an important part of this process. With the NHA materials, we do recommend you go through the study guide first, using it to help you see what NHA is going to test you on. And then, when the time is right, start taking those practice tests. These follow the full exam test plan, so use them to see how you do on the exam itself. Do not just take them to memorize questions. And that is where the focused review comes in. Use it and your program materials to study in between each of those practice tests. Be sure that you apply for your exam as early as you can. Ideally 30 days before your test. Best is at least 2 weeks before your exam date. You have to apply at least 7 days in advance to make sure that everything is ready to go for exam day. So get that done as soon as possible. The day before the test, be sure you know your login email and password. Remember, you cannot reset your password in an exam room, and you're going to be on a different computer than you've been studying on, so it won't have your saved passwords. You don't want to get stuck in the testing center without being able to log in. Remember also, show up early on exam day. Plan ahead for traffic, parking, and then you can finally take the NHA exam and become NHA certified. So this is kind of your general rhythm or timeline. Now, this timeline hopefully shows you the key pieces, starting with preparing over a period of time, not just the week before. Real learning takes dedication. So it helps to start by establishing study goals and sticking to them. Set certain times each day that you take a bite out of the study. No one expects you to do this overnight. Now, studying on your own is essential, but it can also be really helpful to have a study group. You remember things differently when you work through it together, and it can help. Group study helps for you to teach concepts you're comfortable with, and vice versa for others. Assemble everything you need the night before your exam. Your ID, your pencil, a watch, set your alarm to be sure you arrive early. For billing and coding candidates, have your coding manuals ready. Manuals are required, and you can have handwritten notes or tabs on the books, but no additional page inserts. No matter what, you will feel better knowing that you're ready to go. Don't cram the day before the exam. Please, please don't do this. Last-minute study sessions actually increase test anxiety, which doesn't help with your ability to take the test. And I know this can sound silly, but getting a good night's sleep and eating a healthy meal can really help your body to feel prepared. So does staying positive, making sure that the things you're saying to yourself are kind. Scientifically, it's been proven that you remember bad things about yourself easier than the good. So fill your mind with the thought that you can do this. No matter how or where you're testing, be early. Testing at your campus or location still means you should show up early, be prepared, know the room you're testing in, when and where the exam starts. If you're testing at a third-party PSI testing center, know where you're going. Allow extra time for traffic, parking, getting into the center. If you're testing through remote proctoring with PSI, ensure your computer is compatible and your test space ready before exam day. We have lots of resources to help you with this, no matter what your testing method. So during the exam itself, Don't get discouraged if you don't know the answer, but don't skip it. There will be a few questions on your exam that NHA won't score, and you won't know which ones those are. So if you're unsure, rule out the wrong answers first and use your knowledge to answer to the best of your ability, and then bookmark it to review at the end if there's time. It's a time test, so it's more important to get all the way through, not leaving any questions blank. Read each question thoroughly. Watch out for those where it says, which of these is not, for example, or the all of the above answer choices. If you can clearly eliminate one answer choice, then you also know the all of the above is wrong. There's always one correct answer. So read all of the answers before picking yours. Even if it looks like there's more than one correct answer, there is only one most correct answer. Okay, so once you've studied hard and sat for your exam and earned your certification, then what happens? Well, you can keep going. There are always options to further your career path, stacking your certifications with other industry credentials. NHA has certificates of completion you can do that, as I said earlier, focus on soft skills, professionalism, communication. Also, the possibility of continuing your education, you might be eligible for another certification like e-records. NHA has a job board available to you where employers across the country are posting open jobs they want to fill with certified candidates. We have a blog space where we post interview prep tools, job search tips, resume writing suggestions. We host podcasts and webinars you can attend. And remember, it's important that your certifications don't last forever. You do need to keep them updated by completing continuing education credits. NHA does not have dues or annual fees with your certification. You only need to submit payment when your certificate is due to expire, every 2 years. That's not the same for all certification providers. You can do this through your NHA portal or upload completed coursework from an employer or program. Those certificates of completion I mentioned earlier, remember with the soft skills, well, they work too and can be applied toward a large portion of your continuing education credits. Once you've earned your certification, post the hashtag NHA certified and tell us your story. We know how hard this journey is, and we want to celebrate alongside you. Here is an example of just one of our candidate testimonials. We love hearing from you. I mean, it's not a joke that healthcare is hard, but also incredibly rewarding. We're so proud of all of you for taking this first step. It's a big step. And you won't just be changing your life, but the lives of those around you. They see the hard work that you're putting into this, and I promise it will make a difference. We have lots of inspiring testimonials out on our YouTube channel. We can't wait to hear yours once you've earned your certification.